I'm with Martin Beast today, poking his in. So what's going on? Morning, Martin.
Morning, how are you?
Not bad.
This is an old guitar. And old guitars come in two different types. Old guitars that, under the tension of strings, have outlived their functional existence. So old guitars sometimes are worth no money because even if they were a popular or a well-made brand, the strings essentially pulled the guitar into a state of broken collapse. So you can put a guitar in a case and it can break after 20 years of being in a case without you doing anything. And then there's a type of guitar that was built to a ludicrous quality. We're talking about lamination of wood, we're talking about carving neck joints, not just sticking it on, and working to such a degree of excellence that 120 years later it's still not only functional and in one piece, but beautiful sounding. And that's what the Larson brothers did. They made exceptional musical instruments, and I'm very privileged to own one. Now, even though the outside of this is a bit battle scarred, long before I got it, the inside has been repaired a little bit. This instrument was constructed with animal glue, and animal glue does get kind of brittle, but like a fine violin, it can be repaired. So it's been repaired on the outside, but on the outside I certainly said to the guitar repairers that worked on this, keep it, keep the patina of age of 120 years, and that's what they've done. So I'm happy to take this wherever I need to go. So this was sold out of the Dyer Brothers big department store in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I don't know if it's still there, but I've seen old photographs of it. It was a beautiful building, and Dyer Brothers were known as piano importers. I believe that they imported pianos from Europe that had the Dyer logo on them. And as well as pianos, they sold lots of other musical instruments, and these guitars appeared in the Dyer Brothers department store, St. Paul, Minnesota. And so we call them Dyer guitar, D-Y-E-R. And the Larson Brothers, we think they made quite a few of them. Only a couple of hundred, but that was quite substantial for the operation that they had in Chicago, because they made a lot of mandolins and standard guitars. And it was an idea that they had to kind of modernize the concept of low strings under guitar strings, which is nothing new. Goes way, way back to the Renaissance. As soon as long strings were made, they had theorbos and lots of multi-string guitars. But these were modern. These are part of the great New Age, industrial age of America. And they're forceful. You get a decent whack out of these strings. And once we can put pickups and microphones on them, well, there's nothing we can't play, really. And the harp guitar community is really quite big. you'll be surprised at how many harp guitar players there are around the world. So I love to play this historic instrument because it just makes me feel that I've got a connection. There's a little bit of discussion about what year this particular harp guitar was made, and I bow to other people's academic accuracy with the serial numbers and stuff, but we think 1908. So what I like to do is I like to think about 1908 and the sort of music that was around in 1908 and the sort of attitude towards music which was long before the record industry made any money, you know. So musicians in 1908, when this guitar was made, they had to entertain people, they had to function. And I'm kind of lucky in the sense that I've been offered by a couple of people that have bars and restaurants that opportunity to just entertain people with a guitar, entertain people with a musical instrument, and it works very well because you've got nice bass notes.
Martin, I've watched you playing slide guitar a lot lately. Is there any way you could demonstrate the technique for us?
Yeah, well, slide guitar's got a long history, and this type of slide guitar is mostly called bottleneck guitar. It's a little bit interesting because some people think it should only be called bottleneck guitar, and slide guitar refers to an instrument playing on the flat. But it's become a generic term for anything that's moved across the strings. So you have a lot of lap steel guitars and you have a lot of steel guitars which are played like this. Slide guitar is kind of a mix, a hybrid of that with regular open strings. And slide guitar has always been an added feature. It's like you've got the ability to create the sounds of a string being plucked. But if you add one of these notes, it's like you've got a singing dimension. A lot of people say it imitates the human voice, and a lot of players did use that to essentially sing a line. I don't do much of that, but that's okay. And then once slide really took off in the 60s and 70s with a lot of electric players, a lot of good players. The thing is with slide though, I try to turn away from novelty. There's a lot of good musicians doing this. Raikuda, great slide guitar player. Catfish Keith, a lot of these guys, instead of one song on slide as a novelty, they really get into the style and they try and create patterns and techniques which have a bit more substance than just doing something as a little bit of a novelty. The technique, I wear the slide on the little finger. Some people wear it there, but I wear it on the little finger, and I use an open tuning. So I can play fretted notes, and then I pop in the odd slide. And with a harp guitar, I get a bass. And that's my attitude to slide guitar. There's lots of other ones. There's lots of other really good styles of slide, and sometimes someone comes up with something new and different, and that's always exciting.
So your last album, the Celtic music.
Yeah.
Moving on from that now with the slide. Is this going to be a full album of slide
I think
guitar?
so. The thing that I'm trying to avoid is I'm trying to get back to the concept of an album actually moving from each track in a way that makes sense, that tells a story. And that goes completely against the grain of modern habits, which is all to put your favourite playlist together. But you know what us musicians are like, we do what we want to do. And I love concept albums, I always have. I love longer pieces of music, so my idea is to not mix the two. There was a band called The Spinners. Now The Spinners became quite a sort of middle of the road 70s folky band. But in their early day, in the 60s, they used to play to these rooms above pubs in Liverpool. And the whole crowd would be singing these folk songs. Folk songs that really, by the time I was learning to play the guitar, were a little bit middle of the road and smoothed out of it. But there's lots of really good material out there that I've tried to adapt to this instrument. And I feel it's a little bit more of me, because instead of Mississippi and Tennessee and all these places that I do enjoy visiting, it's more me. So when I did a gig a couple of weeks ago, or last week, whenever it was, I did this little place in Nashville. And I did this tune, and it went down very well, because it was different from the other stuff in Nashville. And so this is the Leaving the Liverpool. Shall we do it? And I've got footage of YouTube in black and white, great, of the Spinners doing this, and everyone singing along in the 60s, and it was great, you know. So Leaving the Liverpool. Fare thee well to Princess, land and stage, River Mersey. Fare thee well, I'm bound to California. It's a place that I know so well. So fare thee well, my own true love. When I return, it will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me, but my darling, when I think. Could remain, 'cause it's gonna be such a long, long time before I see you again. So far, my own true love, when I return, united we will be. It's not the leaving of the Liverpool that grieves me. I'll be darling, when I think of thee. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me. I'll be darling, when I think of thee. So I was playing in a courtyard in New Brighton, England, a place called Perch Rock. A fantastic place, fantastic people. And I started using the stomp box a lot. Now the stomp box is essentially just amplifies the sound that musicians would always make by tapping or stomping their foot on a stage, on a wooden board. In fact, the great composer Scott Joplin, who wrote The Entertainer and lots of great ragtime pieces, he notated this in his pieces. He notated the sound of a foot stomping on the floor. It's an element of percussion. And what it does really, it gives you a little bit of a modern bass drum sound. And you don't have to work very hard once you get an amplifier to get a good sound. So that's helped me sort of gather together a few slide grooves, and I call this one the Queen of Caffeine.
Love it. Thanks very much, Martin.
You're welcome.
Again. Thanks to you about explaining everything to us.
Thank you very much.